Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I am so sorry if that was loud, but if you don't know who I am, my name is Shook. I make videos for NBA, make videos for NFL. All these videos, they get posted on this subreddit. I'll have this link down below. And if you ever need to go, ask questions about the slate, all that good stuff. I forgot if I said I make updates throughout the day, but it's really important because a lot of the from this video does change. So I make all these updates right here. And like I said, you can ask me questions about the slate, anything you need, up to lock, after lock, all that good jazz. I'll have this link down below. And if you ever need to get a hold of me privately, you can get a hold of me on Twitter right here. So, um, going over my lineup tonight, we'll see how I finish. But, I have Tyrese Maxey, I have Tobias Harris, I have Keontae George, all three smashing. Keontae George was just a value play. And, I wanted later spots for the later games. Just I plugged him in. I was playing for Tyrese Maxey to be out. I originally had Tobias Harris, Patrick Beverly, and Kelly Oubre. I was playing for Maxey to be out. So once Maxey got rolled in, I got kind of screwed there. So I swapped on to Maxey, kept Tobias, and instead of Pepev and Oubre, I have Maxey and Keontae. And then I rounded out my lineup with, Dante DiVincenzo, Jalen Brunson, Rui Hashimura, and Christian Wood. I believe that's it right there. We'll see how I finish. Sixers are smashing right now. So hopefully it'll be a good night. Showdown's looking really good too. I'll recap all that stuff in tomorrow's video. When I make that video. And if you are interested in more in-depth content where, I give you guys cores, player pools, private videos, all that good stuff, I will have my Discord link down below. All right, let's get into the slate. We have a pretty big slate here with a lot of injury news and lineups and stuff that could happen. So we'll try to get through this pretty quickly here. All right, so Miami at Washington, good spot here. Starting lineup that the Miami Heat have been going with have been Bam Adebayo, Jimmy Butler, Tyler Herro, Terry Rozier, and Haywood Highsmith. Haywood Highsmith, right now his role is just kind of a spot start. One first quarter shift, one second half shift. So I'm not going to play a guy like Haywood Highsmith. Jamie's minutes haven't been great ever since Terry Rozier has joined this team, so tough to pay that price for him. Terry Rozier at 6'7", I mean, it's a good spot. I mean, fine tournament play. I think, at a similar price point, I prefer, a guy like Tyler Herro. But I think the guy that stands out to me the most is probably Jimmy Butler at sub 8K in a really, really good spot going up against Washington. Their highest usage guy, good rebounder. We obviously know he's a good defender. He can rack up defensive stats. He was really, really low owned last slate at 7.2K in a really good spot up against Sacramento. Might be low owned on this slate, so I'm pretty high on Jimmy Butler for tournaments here, and I think Bam is fine. You guys always know I like to target Gafford, but the usage on this team right now with everyone healthy, I would say he's probably priced right. I think my favorite play here is probably going to be Jimmy Butler. And then Josh Richardson's getting decent minutes ever since Lowry got traded, so if you want to go there, I think he's interesting for value, but I'm sure we'll have better value open up. Moving on to Washington, so the big news here is going to be Jordan Poole. If he's out, we'll have Koulibaly in the starting lineup. If that's the case, I really like Koulibaly for value of 4.2K, because the good thing with Koulibaly is if the game blows out, he is going to play in the blowout regardless, right? We know Washington's horrible, especially if Poole's out. There's going to be even more blowout risk here. So if they start Koulibaly again, if Jordan Poole is out, I really like Koulibaly for value. Kispert will get more run as well. Daniel Gafford at 5.9K, probably priced right. Tough matchup going up against Bam as well. Denny's minutes have not been great. Tyus at 6'2", Kyle Kuzma at his price point. If they stay competitive without Jordan Poole, they could have big games. No priorities here, though, but they're fine tournament plays. If Jordan Poole's out, if they're in, even worse. But I don't think I'm going to prioritize anyone here if Jordan Poole's in. Pulls out, you'll see Koulibaly in the starting lineup, and I would really like him, and then Kispert will get more run. Wouldn't touch Kispert or Poole is in. Pretty big news there, potentially with Koulibaly being a very, very solid value. And then the main guys would look, a little bit better if you think the game stays competitive. All right, good spot here for the Clippers. I think the main guys look pretty good. Really good spot going up against Detroit. Pace up spot as well. So like Paul George, Harden, Kawhi, I think all look like solid plays. On this big of a slate, when you have all three healthy, it's tough for me personally to prioritize anyone, but one of these three will probably have a really big game in this matchup. Paul George the cheapest, but I think, I think I'd rather get up to like a Kawhi or a Harden. I think, probably Harden's my favorite in this spot. But all three firmly in play. I think they're all solid options. So all three will probably be very low owned since it's the big slate. Westbrook, I think, is priced right. Norm Powell, you guys know the drill with him. He'll play low to mid 20s minutes, has a ceiling. I think, once again, we'll probably have some better value, but, he's fine as like for large field tournaments if you need it. And then, not going to play man. But Mason Plumlee, she'll play low 20s minutes, fantasy point per minute guy. I think he's a reasonable value. He's been going low owned pretty much every slate. Has not been getting it done, but usually he's a good point per minute guy. All right, we have Cade probable here for the Pistons. Not much here in really bad spot going up against the Clippers, plus blowout risk as well. So like Cade at 8K minutes, should play low to mid 30s minutes, just fine. 8K does seem a bit too cheap for him. I don't know if he's been on any type of limit or not, but I would expect not. 31 here in foul trouble. So you give him his normal minutes. He does seem a bit too cheap, but once again, it's a really, really tough spot. Duran at 7-1 seems priced right. Ivy seems priced right with K back. Bojan as well. Don't love much here. We do have Isaiah Stewart out. Last game they started Mike Muscala. He got hurt. He's out. We'll see what they do with the starting lineup. If they start like a Kevin Knox. Knox would be fine for value. Actually be a solid value, but they can always go to like his minutes aren't secure, right? They can always go to like Thompson, um, etc. So, but yeah, if Knox starts, I think at the Flatman price, solid value. I don't know if I go to anyone else here. I feel like they dusted off some other people. I'm trying to figure out, but yeah, I don't think I go to anyone else there. Moving on to Phoenix, really good spot here. I mean, I think all three of the main Clippers, or Dusty Clippers, Phoenix Suns look pretty good. I think Beal's probably your easiest to get to. He's just playing huge minutes right now. I know his floor is a lot lower playing alongside Kevin Durant and Devin Booker, but you give him close to 40 minutes going up against Atlanta. I think he's an interesting tournament play at this price point. I don't think people are going to be on him. So I do like Beal for tournaments. I think KD and Booker are solid options too. I'm really seeing all the spin ups on the slate, but like you have Sabonis in a really good spot. You have SGA going up against Charlotte. Then you have Trae Young on the other side of this game. You have Wemby. You have Halliburton is on a back to back. We'll see if he plays. So like we don't have like the star studded Joel Embiid. Obviously he's out with the meniscus, but Jokic, etc. But yeah, I think the main guys are solid tournament options, especially in this matchup. It's a really, really good spot. With Eric Gordon, Grayson Allen coming back, Eric Gordon's probably priced right. Grayson Allen himself is priced right. And then with Grayson Allen back in the lineup, Nurkic minutes aren't as secure, but if he does get up to 30, he could crush this price point in this matchup as well. So intriguing for tournaments, but like I said, with Grayson Allen back, his minutes could go back down to that like low to mid 20s. I don't know if I get to much else here, but yeah, I think Phoenix looks pretty solid at their price point, especially Bradley Beal at 6.5K. Like him. Trae Young, sub 10K. Just doing everything for this team. I really like him at this price point. I like the matchup as well. Going up against Phoenix, I think it's fine. Statute stuffer probably going to get you a close to double-double. With DeJounte Murray this close in price point to Trae Young, I think I'd rather just play Trae Young. But yeah, I think Trae looks very, very good at 9.6K. Keep an eye on Hunter. If he's out, it doesn't really change much. I still think like Jalen Johnson, Sadiq Bey, Bog, all these guys are kind of priced right. So that news doesn't really change much for me at all. If he's out, like, yeah, you could consider like a Bey or Jalen, but I think they are priced right. And then, Kongwu, Capella, they'll split the center minutes. I always prefer who's cheaper. That's a Kongwu. I think he's fine as a contrarian value. All right, moving on to Sacramento. So I love Sabonis going up against the Pacers. He's been on another level of late, playing huge minutes. Watching him, Fox, just dominate is absolutely, I love it. But I really like Sabonis here. Triple double upside every single night. Gonna play huge minutes. Love the pace up spot against the Pacers. Like I said, we'll see if Halliburton plays on the other side of this game, but I think Sabonis looks great here. Fox, if you can't afford Sabonis, is fine. Also going to play big minutes. I would say Sabonis has been a lot better of late. And I like Kevin Huerter. He's just playing huge minutes right now. His minutes have been so secure. Decent point per minute guy. Price has not moved. Pace up spot going up against the Pacers. I think he looks very solid. Malik Monk's minutes have been really bad, but if you get a game where he plays mid-20s, he could crush that price point, just super risky. Keegan Murray at 6'1" is playing close to 40 minutes a game. I think he's a decent option at 6.1K. Harrison Barnes is playing huge minutes, but I'll let people keep chasing that, and then you'll see high teens minutes for Trey Lyles. Reasonable value at the, now that he's down to like flat min. I don't mind that at all. Moving on to the Pacers, like I said, we'll see if Halliburton plays here. If Halliburton's in, I don't love much here. Well, let's keep an eye on Mathurin. So, what they did tonight, I believe T.J. McConnell was in. He just DMP'd. They went Ben Shepherd and Nembhard. They were playing Ben Shepherd and Nembhard when Halliburton was off the court. I have it up, actually. Let me see if I can pull it up again. Yeah, you saw Ben Shepherd and Nembhard a lot when Halliburton was off of the court. Obviously, Halliburton's on a limit right now, but it's a back-to-back, so I wouldn't be surprised if he sits here. But if Halliburton plays, it kind of just kills it. Like, I'm not going to play Nembhard. I'm not going to play Ben Shepherd. What else? If Mathurin plays the wings, you guys know they're just going to go with the hot hands with both. Neesmith's been playing huge minutes of late. I mean, if Mathurin's in, just fine. Miles Turner minutes are down. If Halliburton's in, I don't love the price point on Siakam, so it'd be pretty unappealing team here if Halliburton's in. If Halliburton's out, I think, Siakam's decent. I would say probably priced right. Turner doesn't really change much. And then if Mathurin's out, I mean, Neesmith's going to play like 45 minutes. He got into massive foul trouble tonight, still ended with close to 40 minutes. He would be very safe, but the production, I mean, he's been way overproducing, so I'll let other people chase that. But he is going to play all the minutes he can handle. And then if Halliburton's out, I do like Nembhard quite a bit at 5.6K. And then if Mathurin's out, I like Buddy Hield a lot at 5.2K as well. And then you can consider like a Ben Shepherd if they keep going to Ben. I'm pretty sure TJ was in today. It was just a DMP. I don't know if that had anything to do with his illness or not. I don't think so. Yeah, would like some Pacers here if Halliburton and Mathurin are out. And then if Mathurin's in and Halliburton's out, then, the wings. One of them will probably have a good game. One of them will get benched. Good luck trying to figure out which one it's going to be. All right, moving on to the Warriors. So I like this game quite a bit for tournaments. So keep an eye on. What was I about to say? I thought there was news. Draymond Green's probable, I believe, right? What was I about to say? I was just looking at the rotation. But we do have Klay Thompson back. Just forget it. Steph Curry always fine tournament play. Has this type of ceiling. He's always low owned. He's going to play big minutes. I like the spot going up against Memphis. Can Memphis keep this game competitive? I'm not entirely sure, but always in play for tournaments for me. But like these main guys, I like quite a bit. Jonathan Kuminga playing a ton of minutes right now. We do have Klay Thompson back, but we also have Dario Saric out. So Dario Saric was actually, he comes in for Kuminga in his first quarter shift and then his second half shift. So Kuminga will probably see a minutes bump. Like his minutes might be a bit more secure. But he's playing big minutes right now. Even with Klay back, I would expect over 30 minutes. I really like Kuminga at 6.2K. I think Klay's solid at this price point as well. I don't mind him at all at 5.9K. Wiggins is fine at 5.6. Pods will probably go back to the bench. Wouldn't probably be priced right. And then I'm curious what they do here with Saric out. Probably be a bump to like one of the bigs, but I think Draymond Green at 6'3" also, if he continues to start at 5, is very solid at that price point too. So there's a lot to like here with the Warriors once again, and they've been smashing. So fine going right back. Moving on to Memphis, so we'll keep an eye on the news here with Kennard. Tillman just randomly got ruled out today after lock. I would assume Derrick Rose won't play tomorrow, and then, like I said, keep an eye on Tillman. I would assume Kennard will remain out here. So if we get a situation where same guys are out tonight that are out again tomorrow, Looking at this rotation tonight, we saw Scottie Pippen only played 22 minutes. I was a bit disappointed by that because he was a really, really good play today. They played Gilliard 22 minutes, and then they played Santi, obviously all the minutes he can handle. No Tillman. And then Jaren Jackson Jr. played big minutes, and they played G.G. Jackson 28 minutes. Vince Williams, we know, is going to play big minutes as well. So if all the guys are out again that were out tonight, I really, really like Santi Aldama at 5.8K. I think he'd be one of the better mid-range plays in the slate. I think Vince would be a solid option. Jaren Jackson Jr., I like his ceiling for tournaments. GG's playable, probably priced right though. Conchar, fine, but priced right probably. And then I would like Pippen quite a bit, assuming he continues to start at the point. I think like I said, I was a bit disappointed with his minutes tonight, but I think that was a bit of an outlier. I think normally he'll probably play mid 20s minutes, good point per minute guy. So I would like Scottie Pippen a lot if he starts again. And then I don't know if I go to like a Gilliard, but you could consider him. And yeah, I think that's it. Now, if Luke Kennard's in, if Tillman's in, then we'll see what they do with the starting lineup. They could do a number of things. They could move Tillman back into the starting lineup. They'll probably start Kennard at the point. So like we'll see. It'll be a wait and see approach. But if they continue to start, that lineup of like Jaren, Vince, Kennard, and they do like Aldama, Tillman. I still like Aldama at 5.8K. I'd like Tillman at 5.4K. Vince wouldn't really change much for me, so keep an eye on that. But if they're all out again, I really like this Memphis team quite a bit. Moving on to another team that we have to keep an eye on news with. So big news here. Larry Nance is questionable. Herb Jones is questionable. Zion Williamson also questionable. Just keep an eye on this. If they're all in a good spot, I think the main guys look solid here. Ingram, Zion, CJ all seem a bit too cheap, especially for this matchup. Good pace-up spot up against the Spurs as well. So those three would look solid. If Nance is in and Zion's in, Jonas's minutes aren't as secure, so it would be more of a tournament play for me. Murphy would be priced right. Herb would be priced right. Don't know if I go to any of the value here, though. Now, if we get a situation where they're all out, then I really like this team. Brandon Ingram, I would really, really like at that price point. CD, I would really like at that price point. Jonas Valanciunas, I would really like at 6.4K. Trey Murphy would be a very good play. Najee Marshall would be a solid value. Assuming they start Dyson again, he'd be a good value. Hawkins would be in play. There would just be a ton to like here. If all these guys are out, they're going to be pretty thin here. So keep an eye on that. Could open up a ton here. Moving on to the Spurs. I love Wemby. I don't care what the matchup is. He's playing 30 minutes. He's still too cheap. He should be 10K right now. Probably going to get you a double-double. Probably going to get you a ton of blocks. Probably going to get you a steal or two. I really like Wemby. He's still too cheap. Probably going to be popular, but it's for good reason. Vassell's priced right. If Keldon's out, I did mention Chetty Osman as a sneaky contrarian value. I think he's pretty sneaky if Keldon's out once again. He got the minutes last game. He just didn't produce. Normally, he's actually a solid producer, so if Keldon's out, I think Chetty Osman once again is a pretty sneaky value. And then, Sochan, Trey Jones, they're fine, just last piece in filler type plays for me. Moving on to Charlotte, so we have LaMelo Ball doubtful. I mean, Miles Bridges is just going to do everything for this team. He's going to play 42 minutes as well. Not necessarily the best matchup, but still like him for tournaments. Brendan Miller would be priced right at 6.8K, but fine. P.J. Washington's going to play huge minutes. I actually think he's a solid play. I don't think a ton of people are going to get to him, but he's playing big minutes right now. Nick Richards is fine. I think I prefer P.J. Washington, though, and then Cody Martin's a fine filler value, and then they started McGowan's last game, but I'm not going to play McGowan's. If they move like an Ish Smith in the starting lineup at 3.8K, then I really like Ish Smith for value. If they move Miller to the point and start P.J. Washington, then I think Miller is solid, and then I would, like P.J. Washington even more. Moving on to Oklahoma City. So SGA, one of my favorite spin-ups on the slate. I absolutely love him going up against Charlotte. It's just this Charlotte team's really, really bad. I don't know if they can keep this game competitive, but I absolutely love SGA in this spot. I think Chet's a really good play as well. He's another guy that's low owned every single slate, and I love playing him in really good spots. This is one of those spots, so I'm pretty high on both the top two guys here. With Jalen Williams out, they started Kenrich last game, but he got benched at half. I believe they started Aaron Wiggins in the second half. Just keep an eye on it. Both are playable values, and then Lou Dort, I think it's at this price point just fine. Giddey will get a bump with Jalen Williams out. I think he's intriguing, but don't love much else there. Moving on to Orlando, tough spot here. Paulo Franz, I think they're both priced right. No standouts here. Wendell Carter Jr. If he can stay out of foul trouble, This game got in a massive foul trouble. She'll play around 30 minutes. I think he's a bit too cheap, but the matchup's just really, really tough. Markel Fultz, I think, is too cheap again, but once again, matchup really tough. All these guys will be unowned because of it. It's like, I'm still good with these guys. They are too cheap, that being like Wendell Carter Jr., Markel Fultz. But once again, like I said, the matchup, tough, 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 tough. I don't know if I'll go to anyone else here, though. Really tough spot on the other side of this game. I still think, Anson play just because he's too cheap. We all know he's a 9K player. I don't love much else, though, here. Moving on to Toronto, tough to say right now. If quickly RJ Barrett and Jakob Poeltl remain out here, then I've been pretty high on Bruce Brown, Dennis Schroeder quite a bit. I still think they'd be good plays at their price points. They're just going to both play 40 minutes. We know they're both not bad point per minute either. I give the slight edge to Dennis Schroeder, but I think both very solid. Scotty Barnes would be fine. He's been, pretty down with the team to himself. And then Trent's playable. They start Thad Young again. I think he'd be a decent value. And then Noora is playable as well. So, yeah, let's move on to the last team of the night, and that's Houston here. So, big news here to watch. Sengun is questionable. Tari Eason questionable. We'll see if he plays. If he plays, that's going to hurt, like, Jabari Smith. Even hurt, like, the other guys. But if Sengun's out, we'll see what they do. They start like a Jeff Green, then I'd actually like Jeff Green for value at 3.2K. He'd have to actually play a ton, assuming Tari Eason's out. So keep an eye on that, but Jeff Green actually would be a pretty good value play if Sengun's out. Then it's going to be bumps to the main guys. Like, the main guys would look good, especially like Jabari Smith at 5.8K, assuming Eason's out. Might see a bit more run for, like, the Whitmores of the world. So pretty intriguing team here, and we're not going to get this news. So could be potentially some pretty good plays there. All right, that's going to be it for the video. I hope you guys had a great night tonight, and I will talk to y'all in the next one.